Emotions can get in the way or get you on the way. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Ragini Thakaria in conversation with Dr. Gaurang Gaikwad brings you this brand new episode where Dr. Gaurang Gaikwad has talked about how he has dealt with some spontaneous or natural changes in his life and how emotions became his power and strength. Do listen and subscribe to our channel Random Thoughts with Dr. Gaurang Gaikwad only on Spotify. And yeah, don't forget to share this episode with your loved one. And once you have listened to this episode, do hit us with your feedbacks. I'm sure people have been waiting for this episode since a very long time.
Yeah,
So,
everyone was waiting when Dr. Ragini will have the time to do this podcast. So, yeah,
okay, let me just ask this first question is how are you feeling right now?
this is generally a question I ask the patients when they meet me. So, I am actually in a place where there's a very nice song in one of the movies of Devanand that I like. I like him a lot, actually, his movies. And the, the, the line goes something like that something like गम और खुशी में फर्क ना महसूस हो जहां. It's a lyrics actually written by a very famous Urdu poet called as Sahir Ludhiani.
Mhm.
So I like this state.
Okay. Talking about song, what's a song that comforts you whenever you feel low?
I think that music has a lot of healing power, no, and that's why I think
Hmm.
Sankaran has come up with a very nice kind of. He's done a lot of work on music and healing, and so have a few more people. For me and for anyone else, music will always cause healing, but it depends on your state at that time. So for me, different states at different times in my life will soothe me at that time. It's just like homeopathy, how the simillimum will actually soothe you or really help you. It will be different at different times, possibly, or maybe the same as well.
Okay.
Similarly,
But
similarly the music as well.
but is there like your go-to song or something?
No, I don't really have a I say one this thing in different times and time zones in my life. I have liked different types of music. Nowadays, I
Okay.
like a lot of nowadays in last 2 3 years. I have started liking older music more, like Mohammed Rafi and all these people. I've started realizing the real kind of class of all these people, like Mohammed Rafi, like Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, and all these kind of people. They were of different class. Have you heard ever Mohammed Rafi's songs?
I guess
Hemant
so, but
Hemant Kumar, Mohammed Rafi,
Mohammed,
Manna Day.
I guess so,
कभी
yeah.
सुनो आप really आप सुनो.
Okay.
It's a different class altogether. Totally different. It's like chalk and cheese. Try
Okay.
it. I hope our listeners listen to few of their songs. The whole the taste will change. Taste buds will change.
I think after hearing this, they are gonna just ping you off with the favorite song of yours, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay. If you could have only three songs on your playlist, what would they be? I'm not asking for the one, now I'm asking for the three. If you could have only
I really
three.
ऐसा नहीं है मेरा रागिनी. मेरा बहुत random है. It's very very random. It's not like that. Depends on my state at that point. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, I do work even when I work. If I'm seeing cases or if I'm working, writing on a book or whatever I'm doing, I could put up some classical music, some nice rhythm, and my work goes much more smoother. This is what a lot of people do actually, not only me. A lot of people do
Mm-hmm.
this kind of work. I recommend that to everyone. Even when you're studying, you could put some very nice music. In fact, because you're on Spotify, you could just put names like Pandit Bhimsen Joshi or
Hmm.
any of these people's music or songs, and you can just listen to it. It'll help you.
Okay. apart from songs, what's that one thing that cheers you up? Like, is there anything, if you're having a rough day or something, you can do something and like you're on. Like, is there something that cheers you up instantly?
I think that for me, and I'm saying personally and in general also, we have to all create our own life in such a way that our work becomes our comfort, and it will take a few months or few years to develop that. But then for you, the work will become the vacation. So when I meet patients or when I meet anyone, they say, work is so much. I want to go for a vacation,
Hmm.
and sometimes I have to sit back and think, Arey, I never feel anything like that. Or any really good homeopath will never tell you that, I want a vacation, because the work itself is a bit so exciting and it's almost like a vacation. So my go-to thing is how much ever my mood is in or out, and I'm
Hmm.
human. I also have my own state and my own patterns, which I'm aware of actually. Is that I absolutely once I'm switch on in my work, whether I'm seeing patients or whether I'm teaching or I'm writing, doing work on my book, it's switch on. The world disappears for me. So that really is a very big kind of thing for me, and that's why for me I never had, never in my life actually, I never smoked in my life. I've hardly had alcohol. Very very social like 1% in my life. I never, because these things never gave me a kick. So I think that once your work itself becomes so kind of important part of you, that 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 you don't require these kind of so-called pleasures to divert your mind, which actually are not pleasures, they are actually addiction to divert from your already horrible life that you claim that you're living. But if you really make your life really fascinating and passionately amazing, then you will not want to divert your mind with all these kind of uh, diversions, so-called, in that. So for me, once I'm in my zone, I really am. It's a little bit like a meditative zone for me. You
Hmm.
can ask people who work with me. Once I start my work in the morning, normally 9:30, 10, we start our cases. There is almost like a little meditative zone. It's just we and our patients. That's about it.
But has there been a moment where you felt like, being diverted towards these things like smoking, alcohol, and these kind of a thing?
First of
Ever
all,
had a moment?
actually, it's very strange. I never smoked in my life. That's
Okay.
another story. It's also because probably in my childhood I also had asthma,
Okay.
and also because I never actually smoked. Um, I mean, passive smoking, yes. We stay in
Mhm.
Mumbai. People in and around could possibly smoke, so that's, I'm not talking about that. Alcohol also, I never had alcohol in my life. Although the place where I live, the kind of social circles that I have, alcohol is
Hmm.
a very kind of acceptable thing. Most men and women would have that, but I never kind of was so interested in, except for when I started going to Europe. That's when it used to be very chilly there. It's like,
Yeah.
in Switzerland it goes like below zero, below five,
Hmm.
below zero. So then there we used to have wine once in a while, and it's very acceptable there, and it's actually worth it because the wine there is really different quality, and that's one thing that once in a while I like to have, and that's really for different taste altogether. You cannot compare the Indian wines to the French or the Swiss wines. They are very different. So yeah. Other than that, I have not had vices. Never. Yeah, the only vice that I'm sure you also know about it is that I like tea. I like
Yeah.
I like tea. I at least once, most of the days, one day a week at least,
Hmm.
once a week I'll have tea. That also I mean, other than that, not really. I don't really have a strong, say, like a diversion or anything like that. I don't think tea is actually an addiction or a vice in that way.
Yeah.
It's
But
very,
how did you refrain yourself from doing all these things and getting involved in these
not
things?
refrain. That's the thing. I'm again telling
Okay.
you, it was not refrain because I was never. It never gave me a kick. I never
Hmm.
felt ये मेरे को करना जरूरी है या मुझे करना चाहिए या everyone is doing, I should also do it. I
Hmm.
it never. I was never a kind of a person who wanted to follow the herd or follow the kind of trend or whatever it is. If I felt like I would have done it, but मेरे को ऐसा था नहीं कुछ great. And I think that's a better idea to kind of not follow a trend, because trends keep changing.
Sir, I really want to say this that I was refraining myself from not asking you these kind of a questions, but I'm glad that you brought up this topic because there are times when I've asked people to send me some questions for you, and
Okay.
they have literally asked me to ask you those questions
What is the question? Tell me.
do you smoke, like do you take alcohol or maybe occasionally or something like that. I was like, okay, I'm not going to ask these questions.
No, I'm being honest. I've never actually. Even when I was forced to, I never, because it didn't really give me. I told you it doesn't. It's not exciting for me, or something that I look forward to. So I never tried it also. And as we see the diseases that are in and around us,
Hmm.
why are you going to suggest something that uh, to someone else? I think it's not a good idea. If I'm going to do it and I'm going to tell someone else, "Aap mat karo," it's not a good idea. So most of the times I try to tell people the same thing what I would tell myself. So
Yeah.
if I'm going to tell someone that it's good for you to become a little more fitter, I can only say that, if I'm putting efforts myself also. I'm not saying that I'm the fittest human being around, but if I feel that I'm only not putting efforts on my own state, then how can I tell someone else ki aap bhi karo? That's it for me. So that's what works for me.
Now I think they'll have the answer like for the question they were about to ask.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. What is the most heartfelt thing someone has ever done for you? I'm sure there are many, but
Heartfelt.
yes,
What means heartfelt? Matlab?
like someone has done something very big and for you, which has touched your heart, and there must be many I know, but still something which you remember.
I seriously have never thought about this, and I genuinely I'm not able to pinpoint it. But I'll tell you
No.
the most heartfelt thing that anyone has ever done for me
Hmm.
is actually, um, now that I'm thinking, hmm, I think the most heartfelt thing anyone has ever done for me is actually I have done for my own self. I thank
Wow.
my own self for it actually. It's a little too. It'll look a little boastful, I guess,
No,
but
I can
I'm just
never
being
think
honest.
about.
I'm just being honest, actually. Actually,
Wow.
I don't think in that context. Obviously, now many in last few years, many students, many doctors, so many of them they write very beautiful emails, and they send some nice gifts, and they have gratitude, and I'm grateful that
Hmm.
I'm able to be one small medium by which we are able to do something meaningful in their life with the courses that we do, that the teachings we do, um,
Hmm.
the patients also, they come from different parts of India, different parts of the world. They are so grateful towards the homeopathic treatment, and their problems are improving. So that is something that I'm not saying, because that is a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
But what question you ask me, what's the heartfelt thing I did? I don't know. I think the most heartfelt thing I did ever was I did it myself for my own self.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that is by taking some, you can say, um, in a way, tough decisions um, in my life about going ahead, and not clinging to the past, and going ahead. So that those kind of decisions help me a lot. I think that a lot of life actually depends a lot on choices.
Yeah.
Just choices. We often say this is destiny. Everything is destiny. God has done. Yes, definitely. I mean, we have a role to play, but there is some role of your own self as well, and 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 it actually boils down, if you really see, to choices. What choices you make. Just that. आप क्या choices लेते हो makes the biggest difference in your life actually. I'll give you one example. See, I finished my internship I told you I went to Calcutta. I came back,
Yeah.
and not many people know this, but I started my practice almost 4 years after my internship. That's a long time. 4 years is a long time to start your one's homeopathic clinic. Can you imagine me going to Calcutta, training for 8 months, okay, then
Yeah.
coming back, and then obviously working with Dr. Sankaran and the other song for full time. I used to work full time. I used to do. I was part of the marketing team. I was part of the course curriculum. I used to work with Dr. Sankaran on his book called as Synergy in Homeopathy. I used to see some cases. I was part of the charitable clinic center there. I was writing notes for the cases. I also gradually had started teaching there. I so it was there were many things, but I full fledgedly started my practice many years later, and every day someone used to meet me, used to ask me, "अरे कब चालू कर रहे हैं practice?" And it's not that I couldn't start my practice because, like I told you, it had been too difficult for me to start a practice or a place in Mumbai is not that difficult. Um, but it was just my choice. I wanted to spend some time. Really, people do post graduation, people do MD, people do different things, and I felt that I should be in a place where I should be confident enough to treat any person who comes in. Very very confidently. I don't want to be kind of someone who was half baked. I wouldn't want to go to a half baked doctor, no, I see.
Mhm.
So that was the way I wanted to look into it. And the other thing is that we didn't have during our time all these kind of courses and all that the way we have now. तभी ऐसा सब नहीं
Yeah.
था. I'm talking about 12 years back, huh? 12
Mhm.
15 years back. There was no courses, nothing like that. Is we could have assisted someone, but assisting someone takes another lifetime, and no one used to allow assisting and all that during that
Yeah.
time. It was very many of these homeopaths were very little thoda secretive. They never would tell you why they gave this remedy, why they gave that remedy. Very secret. Even the first time I met Dr. Sarkar, he would never answer anyone which remedy he gave and why.
Mhm.
Everyone in Calcutta used to say he never tells the remedy. Later on, obviously, we developed a different relationship and it was different, but so it was very different. So I think sometimes you have to take such some kind of choices and decision that are true. It worked for me. Because when I started, then there was no looking back.
Mm.
Then there was no looking back for me in that way. So I think that's what it is. Different people's timelines are different. There is a lot of herd mentality that happens not just in homeopathy but in all profession. One person maybe does well, everyone wants to do similar things, but it doesn't work like that. One person has started a YouTube channel, everyone will start. One person has started this, but it won't work. No, it everything won't work in the same way because everyone's talent, their own kind of you can say their own USP, what about them especially is very different. So just copying people, imitating people is okay. You might get some couple of people who would maybe flatter you, but other than that it's
Mhm.
not going to make such a big difference. What will really help you is to work on your own skill set, to work on what is that special thing within you and really sharpen it to that level that you kind of um, go to the totally next level. So I highly recommend people or whoever it is, not just in homeopathy, in any profession, to find a way to know your own kind of skill set and keep refining it till you're a little bit in a ready zone, and then kind of do your own thing. So that's what kind of worked for me. Yeah.
As you have said that you have done the most heartfelt thing for yourself.
Yeah.
So, what's that something you love about yourself the most?
My most what I like about myself the most, there are many
Yes.
things that I don't like as well, but obviously you don't want, nor do I want to tell you, because or else no one will listen to these podcasts going forward. So but I will tell you what is the one thing that I am quite I would say grateful, and
Mhm.
I feel that if people also do that for their own self, it will help them a lot. I was just talking to one of my clinic doctors about the same thing, and that is that there is one thing about the way I understood things and that helps me is that everyone has losses, disappointments, failures, rejection, dejection, insult, mortification. This, that. Everyone has, huh? Like me, you, everyone. I'm sure anyone who's here,
Hmm.
ever, everyone has. But for me, one of the biggest advantages that works for me is that in a way I'm able to, these emotions that one person gets, when due to any kind of disappointment, failures, whatever, somehow maybe it comes naturally to me or god knows what, I'm able to channelize those emotions a lot. So what I do is that I take those emotions, don't sit and cry and really break my head and brood. Yes, I do all of that also, but only time being. But then what I do, I use that entire emotion and push it towards my work or whatever I'm doing. So I channelize these emotions a lot. I channelize that entire energy into work so that something really productive comes out of it. A lot of my books are actually thanks to that. Actually, someday, maybe when in another time zone in my life, I'll tell you there is a story behind every single book that I've written. There is a story behind every single course that I did. There's a story behind every single thing that I did. There must have been something that happened, and I used that kind of a disappointment or something and channelized it. That's the secret. Now you know.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
very powerful. Grief is
Yes.
very powerful. It's one of the most powerful things that can happen. It is so powerful that it is much bigger than joy or success. A grief or a loss or a disappointment or a failure has so much of power that it can make you into a monster. Either ways, you have to choose which monster you want to become. And anyone who has been there would know that, because in that grief you can become anything, you can do anything. There is a
Hmm.
you're so charged up, you can actually do anything that you put your mind to, because there is nothing to lose. So it's a very different energy zone, and something that we kind of underrate a lot. But so that's what works for me. That's why when anything, most of these things that happen to me, although I'm human and I also have my own emotions, but somehow maybe it happens a little naturally to me, or I've trained my mind into it. I really not able to put that into words, but I innately kind of do this channelizing of emotion. That's what works for me.
Okay. There is also one question which I was refraining myself to ask you,
Okay.
but this question is from most of the people,
uh,
like how to deal with a loss of a friend or the loved ones, like how to
Loss
deal with.
means death, like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. One of my closest friend died in front of me. No, I
Yes,
hope you know about it. So
yeah,
you must have seen Decoding Mental Rubrics. I think आपने ये किताब
yes,
देखा होगा ना. In that
yes,
you must have seen there is a co-author Ramiz करके.
yeah.
So he in fact was in my college, my classmate, a very close friend of Shama. She's one of
Hmm.
the teachers
Yeah.
in the academy, and very close to Dr. Gajanan and all these everyone actually. So Ramiz and me were studying together, and one day what happened was something very strange happened. That there was some, and he actually came with me to Calcutta. We came back. Then once I joined the other song, he also was there.
Hmm.
That is about a year and a half after internship, probably 2011, 2012. Um, he used to stay at Warsaw. So one day his mother called me up and she told me that this guy is not moving. He's at home. He's sleeping, not getting up. And then she called me. I said I'll come and meet. I went there at night at 12 o'clock, and then we came to know that there was some pesticide control done in the room, and um, we don't know what happened, and probably the pesticides were very high potent, some aluminium phos pesticide, god knows what. And he was no more actually. It took us a lot of time to really know what happened. First of all, we had to kind of calm down his parents.
Hmm.
But a loss is a loss, it's What you can learn from it is only one thing, that one day everyone obviously cried, the second day also people cried, but after 7 days no one remembers him. um, Even now, I mean, even after that, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, the world goes on, except for obviously his mother. Only a mother will know a loss of a young son's death. Only she will know that. Unfortunately for her, it was not just son and daughter at one point, at one time. So it was a unfortunate loss. He was the closest person that I had. After that, it becomes it. After that, I found it very difficult to make friendships. It was little difficult for me personally, but life finds a way in that way. So I was telling you that what I learned from it mainly was that everyone is going to die, and the fact remains that within a minute of you dying, they don't even call you as your name. They are going to call you as a body. ये body को इधर से उधर रखो. And about first 7 days, about 2 or 3 people may cry on your death, may remember you, and probably after a few days, no one is going to remember you, and no one will even think about you. Probably except for 1 or 2 people, maybe that also if your parents are alive, or maybe someone in that kind of direction. The world moves on. So if we are going to sit and think, oh, what this person thinks, what will they think, what will we do, what will ye dunyadari, it's never going to work. So the best thing that you could actually do is that find your gift. Everyone has given a gift. Um, it would be important in this lifetime to the earlier you know your gift,
Hmm.
the better it will be for you. And so if you can find your gift and do your thing, and do your thing for yourself actually, and that would be the best thing. So after that, for about 3 4 years, I used to work full time at Other Song, at Dr. Sankaran's clinic. I used to go to 2 3 places. Belgaum, I used to have my own clinic. I mean, it wasn't my clinic, it was someone else's clinic. I used to go there to see some patients. So yeah, the main learning is that life will move on in a jiffy. So stop worrying about what someone else says or doesn't say. If you are lucky, and I say that all the time, if you are lucky, you may be able to make 1 or 2 genuinely uh, good friends in this lifetime. Rest of the people, don't bother. They are just going to not even like wait for a minute for you if the timeline changes. So make friendship with yourself, spend time more with your own self, and do your thing. Find your gift, do your thing.
I think I made it little serious, but this question, most of the people have sent me this question. So I was
Is
like,
it?
okay. Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's not get there because I knew that you had a certain kind of a loss, but I was like, okay.
Hmm. But it's long time back. Huh? It's like in almost. I'm just checking that date because I wanted to have a look. Almost
Hmm.
2012. So that's.
People, or maybe should I say students, they look up to you in such a way, they want to know everything about you. Like, do you smoke? Do you take alcohol? And what are this, like
Hmm.
heartbreak, this loss, and this and that? I was like, okay, don't send me these kind of
Everyone
questions.
wants to know my heartbreaks and my heart losses of it. Because I am
Yes,
also human. I have also gone through everything that you guys have gone through. ऐसे थोड़ी ना है. Everyone has, and every single human has to go through it. It's
I
just
think more than that, they are interested in like how you deal with that because you inspire us in such a way that they want to look up to you for these things also.
hmm.
Maybe that's why they send me this kind of a questions.
Maybe everyone wants to find a solution um, for all these kind of things, no? Because everyone honestly is confused. Many people ask me what I should do next,
Hmm.
and one of the main things that I often tell is that, well, first of all, I want to tell you there is no one on this planet who's sure about what he wants to do next.
Yeah.
I want to tell you this. People feel that what's the plan, what's the next plan. अरे पहले आज तो जी लो ठीक से. and we plan about tomorrow or something, we can make big plans. That's not a big
Hmm.
problem. I can remove a sheet of paper and make some, you know, crazy plan. But everyone is confused, including me, including every single one on this planet. We find our own path on the way. That's the entire idea, and we have to have faith that we'll find the way to do something with what we have. So that's the real idea. It's important for you to know that no one is sure about anything.